All right, guys, we are live. It's another Sunday Night Live session. I am the editor-in-chief of the Watercraft Journal. My name is Kevin Shaw. For those of you who are new, welcome. We're happy to have you. This one's going to be a little short. I don't know if a lot of you guys have seen some of these things, but I'm losing my voice big time. I don't know if I'm coming down with a cold or what, but my voice has been in and out all day today, so I apologize. But this one will be kind of a little quick one, unless we got a lot of questions. If you guys have a lot of super chats, I have stickers. I got my Ziploc bag of zippers here, or Ziploc bag of stickers here. Happy to have you here. If we get a lot of questions, I'll go through them all. And if you got super chat questions, you donate $5 or more, you'll definitely get, holy cow, we just got that. All right. Well, with super chats, you go right to the front of the line. I stop what I'm talking about, and I immediately answer your question. And here comes Michael with a super chat. He says, new subscriber, love the content. Just sold my 2019 GTR X230 and looking on something faster for 2022. What do you recommend as the best ski for Lake Ontario 1 to 3 foot chop to look at based on what you know for 2022? Well, boy, 3 foot chop on Lake Ontario, that sure sounds like Kawasaki water to me. And I know I made the joke about Cowie water before in previous videos, but if you're encountering some big, Great Lakes chop, that's basically almost ocean water out that way. So if Kawasaki does come through and we do see a redesigned Ultra with a brake, I hate recommending the first year of anything. I really do. But boy, I'm personally excited about the idea of a Ultra with a brake, a 310 Ultra with a brake. But if you are loyal to Sea-Doo, I hate that you got rid of your GTRX because the GTRX is actually a really fun ski. But I would say, in looking at your question, I'd really have a hard time suggesting any of the ST3 based Sea-Doos. Especially for that level of rough water. The Yamaha FX SVHO would be a riot. That'd be great. Get a ride plate on it and a tune, and you'll never be happier. But I've been having some fun with the RX-PX. The RX-PX, to be honest, was no loyalty on my brand, and I was looking at the FX SVHO. Okay. Well, that's good. The FX SVHO really has proven itself as being a really good open ocean and rough water vehicle. So you're on the right track when it comes to your homework on that one. That machine's really doing itself quite a bit of good. Now, my understanding is that the FX will see a very minor refresh this year. Not a new hull by any means, no changes to the powertrain, but I am expecting to see the speaker system that showed up last year for the 2021s. That Bluetooth speaker system will be appearing on the FX models, HO all the way up. It's an option now. I have heard that there might be some cosmetic tweaks to like the hood and the fairings and things like that. And I heard a hairball, a really kind of a crazy one, was that Yamaha will be phasing out the touchscreen and rather have the manipulated screen through the finger pad like the VX and GP. Sorry, I blanked on that one. Just because the touchscreen is a little hit or miss. I personally don't have a problem with the touchscreen, but I know of some people who've had problems with it. And then there's a safety concern of people messing with the gauge cluster, messing with the screen while they're riding. Thankfully, it turns off as you're at speed. But even idling out of the marina, some people... What's the joke? You can't, once you think you've idiot-proof something, here comes the idiot to prove you're wrong. Yeah, not that I'm calling people idiots, but I mean, it's like you can't idiot-proof something. You can't. It will never be perfect. So again, that's kind of the question. But yeah, the FX is a good choice if that's what you're looking at. All right. The regular questions I will be going through when I'm done with kind of my little, spiel. Guys, I want to talk about something that happened this week, and I kind of wanted to get your opinion on it. I like asking you guys who tune in, on the live crew, the guys who tune in. It's not often. It's actually very rare. But we occasionally get the commenter or the follower with a bee in his bonnet. And we had one this week. And this gentleman, for whatever reason, I don't know if he had much going on in his life or whatever it was, but he really, really, really wanted to be combative in the comment section. And it wasn't just to me, but he was to other people. And he was condescending, and then he would attack me. And I'm like, okay, well, whatever. You can do what you want. I don't care. But he was starting to go to a lot of different videos and making these comments and stuff like that. And I'm like, all right, I get it. You got an axe to grind. He did make legitimate criticisms on stuff that I've gotten wrong and stuff that I misspoke on. And I wanted to address those because I'll always wear that up front. I'll always put that up front. I don't cower behind it. I don't sit there and try to lie. But I wanted to make some corrections, and I have made comments on some of the videos. Unfortunately, the guy had to be blocked. We ended up just my admin was just pinging me, going like, "This guy's got an axe to grind. He's really going off." And I was like, well, I mean, is he swearing? Is he calling people names? Is he using foul language? He goes, no, but he's spamming. I'm like, well, all right. And then after like the third day, he came back and he's like, Kevin, I'm blocking this guy. I said, okay. I'd even stepped in like 2 or 3 times and answered him, and it just wasn't enough. And I was like, you know what? That's fine. It's now just kind of ruining the environment for people. And so my admin blocked him, and I feel bad blocking the guy. I was like, ugh, especially because he wasn't like, being really crude, or he wasn't just spamming us with like hyperlinks to his channel or whatever it was. We've had people do that, which I think is dumb. But it was really funny because my admin hit me up like hours later, and he's like, bro, you're going to love this. And he started sending me screenshots. And the guy had gone and created a whole new account on YouTube just to go back, and he laid out like 7 or 8 like nasty attacks on videos, attacking me on things. And I'm like, oh my gosh, who is this dude? And he's some like 60-year-old guy who doesn't have anything going on. And I'm like, all right, that's cool. Go ahead and block that account too. So anyway, I just got to laugh. We had that guy go off. Now I will make my little corrections here. I got a little slip, and these kind of go back, and it was some of the mechanical questions that, like when I was talking about like engine break-in, and I was talking about some of the materials used in the engines, particularly in Sea-Doo. Like, for example, Sea-Doo got rid of their ductile iron pressed-in sleeves. All right, those for those who don't know, instead of like an old engine block that you would cast out of iron and then you'd machine it with aluminum blocks, with aluminum engine blocks and aluminum cylinder blocks. the manufacturers will press in actual what's called ductile iron sleeves. A lot of times they're Siamese, meaning that they're actually connected. You'll see like 3 or 4 of them all connected in a row. So it's one big piece that gets pressed in to the cylinder block. And that's the sleeve where the piston runs up and down. And in 2016 was the first 300 ACE Sea-Doo motor. And when Sea-Doo introduced that new engine to us, the media, they had a really neat cutaway engine, and we got to talk to the engineers. And one of the things they talked about was that they got rid of those ductile iron sleeves, and they went to this new coating process. And the coating process is really nice, and I've seen it on other things. And it's interesting in really expensive applications. That stuff is super duper strong. And I had no reason to doubt that. I'm like, okay, cool. It saves weight. It should dissipate heat better. And that sounds awesome. I'm all for it. But over the last 5 years, we've seen that the coating process that Rotax is using has failed. Not a lot, but there's been failures. And when it fails, what that does is that the coating process literally opens up the sleeve, all right, the cylinder, I should say, and not a sleeve, but a cylinder. I didn't want to misspeak. Again. I know I misspoke in the previous video. And that all of a sudden your compression's gone because there's a failure in the coating process, and now you've got a dead cylinder. You have no compression in that cylinder. So I stupidly, and I have no idea what was coming out of my mouth. And someone did correct me in the comment section later, but I wanted to correct it again and openly say I misspoke in that video, and I was saying stainless steel pressed in sleeves, and because I'm so used to talking about stainless steel pressed in wear rings, like a pump, that I kept saying stainless steel pressed in sleeves until someone's like, dude, they're not stainless. And I'm like, you're correct. They're ductile iron. And it's like, I think it's like 100-70-13. I mean, it's like super, super heavy duty. I know a lot of them are trumpeted. They actually kind of flare out at the top. So yes, I misspoke in that video for like the first hour, like an idiot, and was saying stainless steel sleeves, and it's ductile iron sleeves. So that's number one. Number two, in the same video, I think it was because I was trying to cover so much territory that I was just scrambling, I kept saying, and talking about valve springs, I kept saying spring perch. And I know people who put engines together are like, what the hell is Kevin talking about spring perches? All right. What I meant to say was the seat, the actual seat, the spring, valve spring seat where it sits. Sometimes there's an actual piece that sits in there that has a little lip that goes around it, and it actually sits around the valve guide, and that valve spring seat you don't want to call it the valve seat, but the valve spring seat is where the actual valve spring sits. And I actually looked through my garage because I know I have a set of valve springs I pulled out of one of the engines I built. And I'm like, oh, I'll have visual aids. And I tore apart all my storage boxes. I couldn't find it. So I apologize. I'm doing this by hand. But anyway, I kept saying spring perches. And I was racking my brain like, guy, I think it must have been Friday. I was going over it. And I'm like, what on God's earth make me say spring perches? And I realized that I've been working on a suspension article for our car magazine. And yes, in classic Mopar, classic Dodge, Plymouth Chrysler, and using leaf springs, they have spring perches. Well, I put a Calvert Caltrack system on my 69 Charger and was using all new spring perches. So that's the only thing I could think of. That's literally the only correlation I could think of. And maybe I'm giving excuses, but I'm airing my dirty laundry right here, and I misspoke in saying spring purchase, and it's the valve spring seat. All right. Basically, the anatomy goes: here's your cylinder head. All right. You have your valve spring seat. Poking up through the middle of your valve spring seat is going to be your valve guide with your seal. All right, your valve seal. All right, you have your valve spring that comes up. You have your retainer. Okay, and then you're going to have your locks. All right, your keepers. I've heard them called locks. I've heard valve locks, valve keepers. I've heard. I mean, Lunati sells both. I mean, they use the same words for the same part. So valve keepers or valve retainers. Or not valve retainers, but valve locks or keepers. So I hope that clears that up for anyone who's like, Kevin doesn't know what he's talking about. I do, but I'm a marble mouth and I screw things up. Now, there was a really good question in my water box video. And I wanted to talk about this one just a hair, just a little bit, because I'm actually talking with some really smart guys. They're all stand-up guys. But in regards to cutting up water boxes, and when we cut up that Yamaha water box, I mentioned that the outlet tube, all right, that ran only about 2 to 3 inches above the floor of the water box. I said, oh man, you could go up and scarf probably 6 to 8 inches off of that, and it'd be great. And people are like, dude, how are you going to get the water out? And I realized in the video I wasn't even thinking about it, but a lot of those water boxes, especially with like stand-ups and the high-performance race guys, they have lines, they have siphon lines that are plumbed into the back, and they siphon out. And I didn't even bring that up. So there's that, and that's not like if you were to put a Riva water box in your Watercraft, you're not going to have those lines, and you're going to see a big long pickup tube, and that's correct. You're going to want that. Because that pickup tube acts as kind of like a straw. And so you have that pressure coming in from the engine. It pressurizes the water box. That's halfway full of water. Let's just pretend it's halfway full of water. And that pressure is going to push that water down and out of the outlet. So that's what you want. So there's a lot more information. In fact, there's a really cool video. I could put up the link for the video I was just looking at. But there's some really cool displacement style water boxes that some really smart guys are working with, and I'm intrigued. I'm learning watching some of that stuff. And anyhow, that's there's a lot more that goes into water boxes, and I want to segue this little water box conversation into what we're talking about. I'm a little reticent to talk about high-level tech because I don't think the majority of our audience really don't know what to do with that kind of stuff. Like I talk about, hey, let's put a water box and a free flow exhaust system on your ski, and guys are like, I have a stock HO, I want to put the water box and free flow exhaust to open up all this exhaust flow out of my engine. And I go, dude, don't spend the money. And they're like, well, you just told me to. And I'm like, I realize what I'm doing. I realize that I'm kind of to blame for this. So I'm eating crow right now because I feel like for the majority of people, basically a tune is, a tune and maybe an impeller or a tune and an intake rate and a ride plate are all they're ever going to need, and they'll be tickled pink going 77 miles an hour. So I bring this up because I've had quite a few people reach out and say, man, I really want you to do a video or a conversation like we're doing tonight about impellers and impeller pitching and changing impeller pitch. And I'm like, yeah, that'd be a lot of fun. And I have a lot to learn. So that gives me an opportunity to do a lot of homework, which I kind of like doing, and I like reaching out to guys and asking them like, okay, well, what do you recommend for this? And what do you recommend for that? Here's the problem. I'm afraid honestly, I'm afraid of people suddenly going, hey, I want to get a little bit more RPM, or I think I'm not getting the traction I want, or I think I'm getting cavitation. So I pulled my impeller out and I put it on the workbench, and I took a set of channel locks, and I'm bending the leading edge of my impeller. Now it's all vibrating and it's ripping itself apart. I'm like, oh my goodness. In this imaginary case scenario, I'm thinking I could effectively not give enough information to people and have them shred their skis. So I'm a little scared of that kind of stuff. You get what I'm saying? So you guys might want to steer me straight on that. Okay, I got 2 super chats here, and I want to answer those, and I rambled on without getting to them. Okay. David, thank you very much for the super chat. Holy cow. He writes, Kevin, please help. My kids sucked up a rock in our new Sea-Doo Tricks 3-up. The prop will not come off the shaft. Yes, I'm using the service manual, but it must have been put in Mexico incorrectly. I'm pretty doubtful that it was assembled incorrectly. What I think you're encountering is you have tension. All right. The impeller has teeth in it, and it's indexed. All right. It's keyed into that impeller shaft. All right. To that shaft. And normally, thank goodness, Sea-Doos are pretty easy to change out the impellers. All right. Yamahas are a nightmare. I broke a vise for our video that we changed the impeller out on a GP 1800. I literally snapped my vise in half. All right. Harbor Freight. It's my own fault. All right. But Sea-Doo is typically rather easy. It can be done pretty quickly. But if you've got a rock in there, that rock might be putting pressure on the impeller itself, and you have all that pressure pressing up, and it might be actually levering, like an actual lever, levering that impeller on the impeller shaft, and that's why you have that tension. Without being there personally or seeing a bunch of pictures, it's really hard for me to kind of guess through a text. If you want to email me, David, and send me a bunch of pictures, I'll happily answer you. My email, just so you know, is I have 2 emails. You can email me at info@watercraftjournal.com or my company email, and that's kevin.shaw@shawgroupmedia.com. All right. If you got pictures of it, let me know. I'd be very interested in walk you through it, because I think you have tension. I think that's what's keeping you from being able to pull the impeller out. And I don't think it was misinstalled, especially on a Spark. Sucking up rocks is a nightmare. It sucks. Unfortunately, that's what happens when you fire up the engine in shallow areas. So, I don't want to say I told you so, but I told you so. Definitely push your watercraft out minimum waist deep. And I know on a Spark, it's a pain in the butt to climb up on the back of them. All right. It's a pain in the butt. I know it is, but that's what happens when you're goofing off in shallow areas. Okay. We got David. We got another one from David. Oh my gosh. Is there anybody at Sea-Doo that you know who could help me with this situation? I've tried everything. Dealership is out 6 to 8 weeks. You mean like this? The service department can't touch you for 6 to 8 weeks? If that's the case, yeah, you're going to have to do it yourself. Oh my gosh. Okay. David came back again. He goes, I definitely tried using a breaker bar with a 3-foot cheater bar, going counterclockwise with the tool. With the tool in it. Yeah, vise. I broke the vise. It did not work. Oh my gosh, David, I'm sorry. David, please email me. Please email me pictures. I want to help you out through this. All right. I don't think I can solve it through text right now. I really struggle to think that it was misinstalled. I think you got something else going on. I really do. I think it's the pressure of it. Guy, I'm sorry, man. It sounds like a nightmare. My son was driving it, and it was brand new. This is our third Spark. Okay, yeah. And by the way, David, I appreciate the super chats, buddy. I really do, but you don't have to. I'm following up with you. You don't have to pay me every time. My goodness, I appreciate it. And you can hear my voice is starting to go. I'm starting to sound like Shaggy on Scooby-Doo. Zoink, Scoob. But David, please email me. I'll type it in right now. Everyone can use my email address. You know, everyone who's here. I'm putting this in. I'm typing this in right now for you, buddy. Yeah, I want to be able to help you out. That sucks, man. Ugh, that's a nightmare. Okay, and you've been doing your due diligence. You've actually been busting your butt working on it too. It's not like some guy just going like, "Help me fix it." You're actually working on it too. So now I really feel bad. All right. But David, please email me. In fact, if you email me tonight, I'll look for your email and I'll try to answer you. All right. Brad Haskman writes, Kevin, got our GTR 230 on Friday, Saturday at Cottage, exploring river, attached to the lake, then boom, over a rock, minor scratches on the hull, impressed with the durability. Any experiencing buffing Polytech? I've never had to buff Polytech. Here's the thing. It's the equivalent of buffing plastic. Well, it is plastic. It's the equivalent. It is buffing plastic. So the hard thing with that is the Sea-Doo repair manual shows all about welding plastic. And then they show how to use, they're actually showing, one guy was actually using a steel tooth brush and he was scrubbing it to get that really kind of fine texture because he was scuffing it really, really hard. And you would see these cross-hatched grooves and it looks like you've ruined your ski. You're like, oh my gosh, I've made it worse. Then you go back with some finer grit sandpaper and you sand over it again. You can blend it. It's not going to be perfect, but you can blend it and soften the edges of the groove or the cut if it's really bad. Yeah, if it's really bad, you want to soften those hard edges. So, yeah, that's man, that sucks. Brad, I'm sorry, man. That's a tough one. Oh, David, I am sorry about your tricks, man. That just sucks. I mean, my heart breaks for you. It's brand new and gets a big old rock crammed in it. Okay. All right. So I literally have no notes for today's topic. I didn't really prepare anything. That's not to say that I don't care. That's not to say that we're not going to talk about anything. But what I feel like is that today really needs to be a little bit of a common sense conversation. And sadly, common sense isn't as common as one would like to think. I'll start with this. I've been in one car accident in my life. All right. And that was in high school. I was a junior in high school. And I had a split Corvette white. It was really pretty white. Split bumper RS LT Camaro. All right. Black vinyl top, black interior. It was a neat car. Got it for $2,200. This is 1993. All right. 350 small block, 350, turbo 350 transmission, 10-bolt rear. It was a dog, totally slow. I bet you that car ran. I never ran at the track, but I bet you it run freaking 17s. I bet you it was a dog. My old beat-up Dodge truck out back is faster. But I thought it was a cool car, and it was a true split bumper Camaro, and it looked neat. It was a no-go showboat. Anyway, I was driving home from work at my dad's welding shop, and I was going too fast down a neighborhood street, coming up to a four-way intersection. I go down to mess with the radio. I look up. thinking that the light had already turned green, cars had let off their brake pedals, they're pulling out. I look down to go grab a CD. I look up and I see brake lights, and I locked up the brakes. These are old 1972 brakes. Skid right into the back of a minivan, smashed the whole front of the car. All right, that's my first driving or first and only accident was messing with the radio. And my dad joked, and my dad today is 78 years old, and he goes, "Oh, that was the only accident I was ever in, was messing with the damn radio." Messing with the radio, trying to find a radio or find a song that I liked on the radio station. And I looked down, farting with the radio, smashed into a car. I was like, "Oh, brother." So that's always been in my mind. And I grew up with ATCs and 440s and 550s, and then the early first wave runners, and we had a wave jammer with the goofy gooseneck. And I was always taught to keep my head on a swivel. Just always keep your head on a swivel. Always be alert. Pay attention. Don't trust the people around you. That's really the takeaway. And that's really how I learned to drive, was keep your head on a swivel. Always be checking your blind spots. Don't trust the other cars. Pay attention to what other cars are doing. So that was always ingrained in me. 15 years old, 16 years old, I was always ingrained in that. And of course, what bites me in the butt at 16 years old? Playing with the radio. So Watercraft have become more and more comfortable and more accessorized as the years have gone by. All right, cruise control is one of the first additions. Obviously everyone had a reverse bucket. The reverse buckets were first, and you could deploy the manual reverse. And Yamaha had the reverse underneath the throttle. Okay, great. All right. Well, then you had to learn how to use the reverse bucket and be comfortable with that. Then you had tilt steering and cruise control, and all these other little features started showing up. Okay. Then Sea-Doo comes out with IBR with brakes. Now, here's the thing that I really appreciated, and I have always since 2009, 2010 with Sea-Doo, is that Sea-Doo knew ergonomically we do not want to remove the rider's hands from the handlebars. We don't want them pulling their hands down to move and touch and boot buttons on the dashboard. We don't want that. We want to keep their hands on the handlebars at all times. And that stuck with me. It's 2021 right now. I'm repeating something that was told to me 12 years ago. All right. That has stuck in my head, was we never want to remove the rider's hands from the handlebars. Okay, I thought I had a super chat. Sorry, I didn't want to take from that. Okay, so Sea-Doo was really good about, listen, 10 and 2. It's not 10 and 2, but keep your hands on the handlebars at all times. You got your gas, you got your reverse, you got your trim control, you got your starter button, you got your cruise control. Everything's there for your thumbs. As long as you got thumbs, you're good. You're in good shape. You're a higher primate. You got your thumbs. So that was a really good thing that I always appreciated. Kawasaki always had the buttons up on the dash. And then 2004 Yamaha, you had your reverse down there, because Yamaha didn't come out with reverse until 2015. Kawasaki is the first in 2014 to come out with a sound system. All right. A lot of people forget that. Everyone's like, "Oh, Kawasaki's so behind the times." I'm like, well, Kawi was first with a sound system, right? Oh yeah, that's right. So anyways, just a little poke. So anyway, the one thing I really appreciated about Kawasaki's sound system, the Jet sound system, was on the LX Ultra. That control panel was right in the dead center of the handlebars. So it was, you're looking forward, you look down, you look forward. So that was one of the nicest things, was that you're not, and you could take your hand off the handlebar, but you still had your hand on the steering to operate, track up, track down, volume up, volume down, power on, power off. All right. So you had those controls right there in front of you, and it was in line of sight, which was very convenient. With the Jet sound system being on the STX, the handlebar, it's just below it. It's a little further, and it's a little harder to see. It's not right there in front. So it's a compromise. It's not the best, but it's a compromise, okay? Because in 2018, when the BRP premium sound system came out for Sea-Doos, your only control module is down at your knee. And I am guilty of it. I've watched people do it. They're riding and they're doing this. And they're, and what track am I on? Oh, I can't tell. And they're trying to toggle through the radio down by their knee while they're riding, and they're at speed. And I've done it too. So I'm going to call it like it is. I am as much a hypocrite when it comes to this as anyone. So, I'm guilty too. But that control panel, that little control module that's down at the bottom for all BRP premium sound systems, I feel is contrary to what their mission statement was earlier. And that was, we want to keep the hands on the handlebars. And making someone lean over and toggle through the control module for the sound system is a big distraction. All right. Your eyes are being pulled off of where you're going to look down. Now, their answer will be, well, let off the throttle, come to a stop. I'm like, dude, yeah, I get that, but no one's going to do that. People just aren't going to do that. They're not going to change their behavior. So it's kind of a problem. Mark, let me get to your question in just a second. Yamaha in their new sound system that came out, and I'm just talking about the factory installed sound systems. I'm not going to talk about the JL audio. I'm not going to talk about all that kind of stuff. Well, the JL audio actually is pretty close to what the factory system is like. And that is, the control pads are right underneath the steering. Okay, so you're driving and you have your tilt steering here, so you can move your tilt steering. And then I'm pantomiming, I apologize. But then you have your sound system control pad right there. And then you have your dashboard control pad right over here. So you can keep your throttle, you can keep your hand on the throttle, and you can be boop, boop, hitting buttons here, there, and everywhere. Okay. Are you moving down? No. So it's nice. It's a nice little modular control pad that goes right there. Great. Would it be better on the handlebars? You betcha. Would all of them be better on the handlebars? You betcha. I 100% agree with Sea-Doo's old philosophy that riders should always have their hands on the handlebars. They should never have to take their hands off to do anything besides tilt steering, I guess. Because I can't imagine operating tilt steering with it on the handlebars. That'd be a little clunky. But other than that, I think all those controls should be on the handlebars. All right. It gets things complicated. I understand. Anyone who rides sport bikes, anyone who's a very active motorcyclist can attest to how complicated those control modules have become on modern day motorcycles. So the hope is in seeing an evolution and a step up in new control modules. That's actually what is kind of biting Yamaha in the butt right now, is that they did redesign their control modules on the handlebars, and they have a faulty switch, and that's the kill switch for the lanyard, and they've fixed that. They've had a recall. So it should be resolved by now. Anyhow, that's one of my biggest concerns. Now, here's where it gets a little stickier. Let's go to Mark's question. All right. Mark says, might be a silly question. Do you think that BRP ever experimented with putting a modified Evinrude engine in a Sea-Doo? I'll tell you what, What was the name of that two-stroke, that super clean running two-stroke? Was it the E-Tech? Was that the name of it? Someone's going to correct me, so I'm not claiming that as being fact. But I did hear that they had toyed with the idea of putting the E-Tech in the Spark. But they found that the Ace engine, the 900 Ace, was a better fit. And it was a little bit lighter, and it was marinized, and they were like, well, we're going to be phasing out Evinrude, and there are states that outright ban E-Tech. Okay, thank you guys. I just wanted to make sure. I'm like, ooh, I'm not terribly sure about that one, but okay, good. So yeah, the E-Tech started to get phased out, which I thought was interesting because I'll tell you what, I remember being at the 2011 LA Boat Show, and one of the guys, outboard salesman, he's like, we were talking to him, and he goes, "You want me to fire it up?" And we're like, "Dude, you can't fire up an engine in the middle of the freaking LA Boat Show." And he goes, "Yeah, I can. Watch." And he fired that thing up, and it was so quiet, just I mean, barely made any sound. And then he goes right up and he puts his hand right up on the exhaust. I'm like, "What?" He goes, "It's not hot. This thing runs so nice." So yeah, I was really impressed by that. I was like really impressed by that. So that was a neat thing. But the technology and the contract, I mean, Rotax is making these engines, and Rotax is still out of Austria. Rotax is pretty on top of their engine building game. So I have a hard time saying like, oh, they should have Evinrude making those engines. No, I think they're okay. I think they're doing okay. And then if you pay attention to the snowmobile side of things, the power that they're making out of their turbo Ace motors is pretty freaking ridiculous. So there's a there. Oh, look, speaking of the devil, I rode an E-Tech snowmobile in Alaska. That thing made some serious power. Exactly. Those things were bonkers. Yeah, those things were bonkers. There's some power coming out of those turbo ski-doos. Those guys are doing some really, really cool things. So anyways, all right. So let's talk about the distraction thing. What concerns me? Here's what concerns me. People are always going to want more. They're always going to want more. They get comfortable. And then they go, oh, it doesn't have brakes. Oh, I mean, for example, right now, the Ultra 310, most horsepower in the market, most stable ride, best rough water handling, most fuel capacity, most storage capacity. Are they outselling Sea-Doos? No. Are they outselling Yamahas? Nope. Why? Most people, they don't have brakes. They don't have brakes. That's how too heavy. It's too heavy. It's too slow. Yeah. It's heavy because it's made out of fiberglass instead of plastic or acrylic or nano excel. Cowie hulls don't crack. Anyway, I know. I'm also the Dodge guy too, so the Chevy and the Ford guys hate my guts. I get it. I understand. Anyway, so we get complacent with stuff. We have a big digital screen. Well, I want touch screen, or I want it bigger, or now I want it to sync with my phone. Now I want GPS in it. Now I want it to tell me what songs are playing on the radio. It escalates. It snowballs. Okay? So suddenly, I'm telling you, 5 years from now, 10 years from now, these things are going to look like gold-wing motorcycles. They're going to be crazy. They're going to have windscreens. They're going to have transmissions, high and low gear. And they're going to have full digital GPS. It's going to be a television screen. And you're just going to be like, okay, Siri, drive me. That sounds depressing to me. But I'm joking. I'm being facetious. But to my point is that it's only getting worse, or I should say worse. It's only escalating. So, for example, Sea-Doo comes out with their big 7-inch screen for the GTX and the Fish Pro for 2021. How many people go bonkers saying, I want to put this in my RXTX. I want to put it on my GTX 230. I want to put it on my older Fish Pro. And I'm like, dude, it's $3,000 worth of parts, about 9 hours worth of work, and you physically are cutting into your wiring harness just to put that in there. Kiss all your warranty goodbye. Oh, really? Yeah, you're going to kiss all your warranty goodbye. We did a little video on it. It's not, I don't think the juice is worth the squeeze. So anyhow, that dashboard, that big digital dash is going to end up being in everything eventually. It's gonna trickle down. That's how it works. It's just going to go that way. So hang tight. Give it a year or two. It'll show up in your regular 230 or 170. Don't worry about it. So then there's people who are like, I want to put the big Fish Pro fish finder. All right. Well, I want all of that mapping. I want all of that GPS plot mapping and all that really cool stuff. Well, what we're seeing is more and more things to distract a person from not necessarily from enjoyment, because you can enjoy it. I'm not going to be the one to say, oh, you people with all those bells and whistles, you're not enjoying a jet ski like I am. There's people who say that. There's people who are like, oh, dude, you don't know how to ride and you suck and you're a couch rider and all this stuff. Okay, I get it. Okay. You're cooler than me. I get it. But I'm also saying that a distracted driver on the road, person on their phone, person messing with the big infotainment system that's on your screen, and trust me, they're only getting bigger. I mean, you drive by any Tesla and it's this big. All right. The new Lincoln, I remember I rode in a friend's Lincoln SUV and it went from top of the dash down to the shifter. I mean, it was this big. It was a 2.5 foot, 3 foot screen. It's ginormous. I was like, holy crap, dude. That's bigger than the TVs you and I grew up with. Yeah, dude, it's rad. I'm like, it's in your car. What are you doing? Anyway, my concern is distracted drivers. Radio, GPS, bippity booping on the screen. That's what concerns me. All right. That's my biggest concern. Can I magically wave a wand and fix that? No. All right. Because that's not going to go away. The demand for that kind of stuff is not going anywhere. It's not going to go anywhere. People aren't going to go magically overnight say, okay, I want to go analog now. Yeah, let's go back to analog dial gauges. I don't want any digital stuff. It's just not going to happen. So again, that's really the hard part is, can you put that genie back in the bottle? Not really. So how do you make riders more attentive? Do you make them go to a class? Do you make them get a license? Do you have a learning mode that turns all that stuff off? I don't really know. I have toyed with those ideas. It's like, okay, when you're breaking in your Sea-Doo, you can't use your sound system and you can't use your big digital dash for the first 3 hours. Can you imagine? Honestly, can you imagine if Sea-Doo made you shut all those things off and just made you ride for the first 2 hours or first 3 hours? And people would cry bloody murder. Please, you would think Sea-Doo was cutting off their internet. I'm telling you, man. I'm telling you. If they did that, it would be the funniest stinking thing. I'd roll over laughing. But they're like, hey, we want to force people to get used to riding their skis without messing with the radio or messing with their GPS systems or messing with their big digital dash. They can't sync their phone to it. All this stuff is turned off. The only thing you got is a limited go throttle and you got your brake reverse. That's it. Oh my gosh. That makes me excited. That would be a great idea, but it's not going to happen. All right, because people would they'd riot. They'd show up at dealerships with torches and pitchforks. So that's obviously not a viable answer. So again, I bring this stuff up theoretically because my concern is in areas, in states, and in countries that do not require any sort of training or license. You just can jump on a new wave runner and go to town and just go hauling butt. We have the potential for distracted drivers. So I would, and I've mentioned this and I've suggested it, is bring all sound system toggling controls. Basically, all controls need to be on the handlebars. That way, your line of sight isn't broken. I think that is the best solution. I think that's the best thing that people can do, because the muscle memory thing sounds good in theory, but not so much in practice. We've seen what happens to distracted motorcyclists. We've seen what happens to distracted jet skiers. So it's a little difficult. I can't be, I'm a nobody in the grand scheme of things. I'm a dude with, a website and a YouTube channel. That's really it. So that's really my biggest concern is distracted drivers. For those of you who are literally friends on Facebook who've added me, you'll see I made a post. I put it to friends. I don't think I made it public, but I put a post about me. This is going to get a little I don't want to insult anyone. I don't want this to be a fight, but I made a post earlier this last week, saying when people come to me and ask me what kind of jet ski should I buy, I will always recommend a naturally aspirated ski. And that sticks in the craw with a lot of people. They're like, "Oh my gosh, well, why? I want to be fast. I don't want a slow ski." And I'm like, you know what? Not to be mean, but if you're coming to me and saying, what kind of jet ski should I buy? What kind of watercraft should I buy? I'm going to tell you, get something that gets good fuel mileage, that's comfortable for the family, and is naturally aspirated. I will. The people who want a supercharged ski, they're not coming to me asking, "Hey, what should I get?" They're coming to me with, "Hey, I heard that there's a change here, or I heard that there's something going wrong with this. What do you know?" I'll answer that question happily. I'll happily answer that question. But when you tell me, "What should I buy?" I don't know you. How tall are you? How short are you? How much do you weigh? What kind of riding do you do? Where do you live? What's your skill level? I don't know. It's like asking me, what kind of pants should I buy? I'm like, I don't know. Go get a set of Dickies. Well, dude, I'm going to church. Well, you should have said so. So anyway, it's really, really difficult. And my question my response to people questioning me, what kind of ski should I buy? And I say naturally aspirated, is honestly, I feel strongly that the vast majority of people with supercharged jet skis do not know how to operate them properly or safely, period. And more so in a panic situation, oh my gosh, someone fell off in front of me, or there's a boat coming, or I have to make an evasive maneuver very quickly. I've been on the water in groups, small groups, large groups, very experienced people, people that I normally trust, who've made completely confounding maneuvers. And I'm like, oh my gosh, what was that? Now, I've also been with people who I was a little on the fence about, who in an emergency situation were flawless. I'll give you a great example. Here's a great example. 2018, I get one of the first RX TX 300s, silver, black, and red, and I am bone stock. I haven't changed a thing on it, and I go to the mud bug, and I've got my, at the time, 9-year-old daughter with me, and at the time she's 9, and we're on a group ride, and we're really cutting through some really narrow bayou, little paths, and I'm riding alongside Joe Borden, and Joe Borden is the owner of Bopinski PWC chairs. Bopinski Water Sports. We've seen the folding chair that attaches to the back of jet skis to sit back and fish from and relax, put your feet up. Joe Borden is the guy who invented that and came up with that chair. Joe's with his wife, all right, Sherry. Joe and Sherry are athletic. They're very athletic. They're trim. They're in their 50s, but they look like $1 million, all right? And they're from Texas, and they're lovely people. They are the kindest people. I've stayed at their house. They are lovely people, and their product's rad, and they've been sponsors of the magazine for years. Anyway, we're riding, and we're coming up to a hairpin. It's actually kind of an S-turn, and we're having fun. We're being sporty. We're having fun, and he's on an FX SVHO. I think he's got a limited. And he's taking it wide. He and Sherry are taking it wide. And I'm cutting on the inside, and I've got it trimmed down. I'm on it really hard. And the nose bites and the tail washes out, because that's what the ST3 does. The tail's got a really flat, it's really flat in the tail. It's got a really pronounced keel. It bites the nose, it washes the tail out, and that ski completely kicks its tail out. And my daughter goes flying. I mean, she's ejected. I'm like this. I pin the bar like another inch, and I bring my arm down, and I grab her vest. That's all I can grab is her vest. And I think I grabbed her hair too. She had long brown hair. I grab her vest, and when I grab her, my arm's over here. But when I grab her, she gets pulled down into the footwell. Thank goodness the Sea-Doo's footwell is this big. It's huge. She gets pulled into the footwell, and I chop the throttle. I bring it in, and Joe, seeing the whole thing happen. This took seconds. I'm talking a second and a half to 2 seconds. Joe saw the whole thing happening in his periphery. Well, Joe knows how to ride motorcycles. He's got muscle memory. Joe backs off, pulls out wide, and then cuts around and immediately maneuvers his Yamaha around. He makes sure that Morgan, my daughter's okay, makes sure that we're okay. Absolutely perfect muscle memory, attentive rider. So I got to tell you, I gave some bad examples. I want to give a good example. Joe, in this example, was absolutely Johnny on the spot. He was perfect on that one. And I got to give it to him for that. And I've been out, Greg Gaddis on the spot. Greg, totally sharp. He's watching what other riders are doing because his dad, burned this into his brain. You watch what everyone else is doing. You're okay. I want to see I want to make sure that you see what everyone else is doing. And that's when you know you've got a really good rider. All right. I'll tell you what. You guys want to know if the people you're riding with are attentive? I'll tell you this. Go ride in a small group of 5 people. And I want you to pull alongside people, not close, 20 feet, 30 feet, 40 feet away. And I want you to look at them. And I want you to count in seconds out loud how long it takes for them to acknowledge that you're looking at them. I'm serious. This sounds silly, but stare at them. If you're on like a big, long straightaway, I want you to pull alongside 30 feet away, and I want you to stare at them and see if they're paying attention. And because they're going to stare at you going, what? What do you want? But that's my point. All right. I'm telling you, try it. And you'll see, you're like, dude, I was staring at the side of your head for a minute and a half and you never looked. I'm never riding with you again. Right? I'm telling you, that's all you need to do. That's all you need to do. It sounds super silly, but that's my litmus test. I'll go out and I'll go on rides with people and I'll stare at them and they won't look. Or sometimes they'll look back at me and they're like, what do you want, you weirdo? Stop staring at me. But that's my test. This is just to stare at them and see how long it takes for them to look over. I'm telling you. Now, obviously, if you get right alongside them, they're going to stare at you. But 20, 30 feet away, stare at them. See what happens. Okay? That's why you don't do, that's why you, I just hate big groups. Because no one's doing this. They're not. I don't trust that many people. There's too many variables. Anyway, okay, I'm going on a rant. I apologize. Guys, this is pretty much what little topic I had. I mean, I really didn't have much in the way of notes. But let's answer. I got a lot of questions. I got so many questions. I don't think I have any super chats. So, I got a super chat from Brian, but thank you, Brian. I appreciate the super chat. Thank you very much. But he didn't have a question. So we are going to scroll back to the top. Oh, we got one. It just popped up. Michael comes in. Are Riva sponsons the best ones? On my GTRX, I designed and machined my own billet aluminum sponsons just as a fun project that worked awesome. Just not sure for the money it costs, $600 in material plus the time. Well, the Yamahas really aren't that much. They're like are much not that much different from that one. They're like $500. But I will tell you, Michael. Well, I've never tested the GTRX. Well, you had a 2019 GTRX, so that's not the 20. So I never tested a GTRX with the Riva Pro Series sponsons on them, but we did a big killer knockout shootout between the. We did it on the FX SVHO and we did it on the ST3 hull, which is 2018 and up, 3-seater. The 2013 or 3-seater 2018 up Sea-Doo, which is the ST3 hull, and the 2019 and up Yamaha FX. We did a big knockout engineering style shootout on sponson design between the stock sponsons for both units, the Works sponsons for both units, and the Riva sponsons for both units. And we used all of Riva's CAD design stuff because they have good CAD programming. Oh, hey guys, I just got a message from YouTube that our chat was disconnected. Please comment and let me know if you guys can still hear me and we're still going. I'm not seeing anything. And I want to make sure that we're not cut off. That concerns me. Okay, cool. All right, good. Okay, good. Thanks, guys. I appreciate that. Technical difficulties. Yeah, that was a weird one. It literally says chat disconnected. Please wait while we reconnect you. Okay, cool. All right. So, Michael, when it comes to, well, shoot, I can speak for the GPs as well as the RXPXs. I prefer the Riva sponsons. And the reason why I prefer the Riva sponsons is that the Riva sponsons, the Pro Series sponsons, they're actively looking at what's called pivot point. Their work sponsons are good. They're good. They work really good. But they work by just shoving a big gnarly blade as deep in the water as they can and producing drag. All right. It's literally drag. It's literally pulling, and that's what's hooking and grabbing that traction and getting that traction. What Riva is doing with their sponsons, and the reason why you see a stepped design to it instead of a big fat blade is because they're maximizing the most traction in the right position to to maximize. Oh wow, look at everyone. Okay, yes, thanks guys, I appreciate it. We got a million loud and clears. Sorry. I'm sorry. Hey, since I got everyone's attention, do me a favor right now. Okay? We're gonna start a sing-along. No, I'm joking. I need you to like this video. Guys, can you please like this video? If you haven't already, give it a thumbs up. All right. I appreciate everyone watching. We got over 90 people watching. But if you can, just for a second, give it a thumbs up. We should have 90 thumbs ups. All right. I mean, unless you guys really hate my guts and you're here just to watch me fail. But, you know, just wait long enough. You'll see me screw up on something. But if you can, please hit the thumbs up, hit the like button. We really need to get, here's the whole thing. And if you watch anything political on YouTube, which is a ticking time bomb, you'll know, or you've heard that the way YouTube works is kind of a popularity contest. So in order for our videos to get shared or in order for our videos to be recommended by YouTube, they recommend the popular ones. Okay. So the more thumbs up, the more likes, all right, the more likes we get, the more they recommend our content. And we really want to grow the channel, because what happens when we grow the channel? We get more ad revenue. I can put that ad revenue into basically paying my editor, and we can expedite and get more videos out. All right. So the more we can, the more likes, the more thumbs up, and the more subscriptions that we get, the closer we get to having more video content. Because, I mean, I want to crank this stuff out, but it costs money. I wish I was independently wealthy. Boy, do I ever. But we got to get that, that sweet YouTube money, which isn't much. That helps offset the cost of this. So, guys, if you can, please, let's get those thumbs ups. I really appreciate it. I know we got 100 people watching right now, and we're only at 50 or 55 thumbs ups. So if we can get that thing over 100, that'd be rad. I'd really appreciate it. So anyway, guys, let's keep going. So let's get to other questions. I do want to finish the one super chat question, and that was in regards to pivot point. The sponsons that Riva's producing, what they're doing is that they're maximizing where on, let's say this is your hull. All right. Look, shoot. All right. Let's say this is the hull of your jet ski. This is your jet ski. All right. Well, they found out that an FX and a GP, the ideal pivot point is right here, right on the ride plate. Okay. That's where the majority of the hull puts its effort into steering. Okay. Obviously it's on its nose. Don't get me wrong. But where its traction is needed most is right here. Well, what works for Yamaha doesn't work for Sea-Doo. Believe it or not, Sea-Doo needs that pivot point right at the beginning of the intake crate. So the pivot point for the ST3 Sea-Doo is right there. It's not here. It's right there. So where's the deepest part of the blade on the Sea-Doo? It's right there. Not here. Okay? Does that make sense? So what they're doing is that they're putting the effort where the ski wants it the most. If you put a big old flat, piece of Delrin plastic right there, well, that's just producing drag. All right. That's not maximizing and getting the most out of the hull. So that's the science behind that design. There's actual intelligence behind that design. All right. We got a whole mess of questions. I got to move the microphone out of the way just to see the questions. All right, guys, I'm going back to the top. Let's check out some questions. I might be here for an hour with all these questions. All right. Matthew writes, hi, Kevin. Would a Generation 2 ride plate, Generation 2 intake crate, and pump wedge be a good combination for my 2020 VX Cruiser HO? I only ride in the ocean. Thanks. My understanding is that the pump wedge and the ride plate is overkill, because the ride plate is doing what the pump wedge is designed to do, and that is to manually bring the bow of that ski up. So a ride plate and the intake grate is your traction. Your intake grate is grip on your tire. It's to load up the pump and make sure that you've got a full fat load. Wow. A big fat loaded pump, and you're always producing continual thrust. That is the intent. That is the purpose of a top loader intake grate. Your ride plate is to manually bring that nose up. I would save the few bucks, Matthew, and forego the pump wedge. Get the ride plate and the intake grate. Take the money for your pump wedge and get the pump seal kit. That is the black plastic, black rubber seal kit. Is it silicone? I don't think it's silicone. Anyway, it fills in all the crevices around the pump so that you're not getting a lot of that air and you're not getting a lot of that cavitation in the pump tunnel. Hope that helps. All right. Billy Duplessis is here. I saw him come in. I just didn't say hi. All right. Jason writes, my 2016 FCS SVHO just took it out today. It was the predecessor to the FX. No, it was the predecessor to the GP. The FZ was the predecessor to the GP. Very stable at 70 miles an hour. My GPR 2021 is rats. Skipped ahead. My GPR 2021 is squirrely as F at 81 in chop. Yes, it is. It takes a real athlete to be able to wrestle one of those skis and chop over 80 miles an hour. It takes a monster to do it. There's no gentle way of putting that. I apologize, Jason. All right. Austin writes, what's up, Kevin? How much oil to put in my 2021 RX PX? What could happen to your ski if you ride with too much oil? I know we did a video. Jerry Gaddis talks about that. I talk about it. I also talk about windage in another video. You might want to check them out in more detail. Basically, you can do it two ways. 3 quarts is going to be too much, believe it or not. The best suggestion that Jerry and I have is a visual one, and it's going to sound silly. But first, to check your oil, fire up your ski, let it idle for 30 seconds, kill the engine. Wait 30 seconds, check your dipstick, all right? Because it's a single stage dry sump. And so you're not going to have a proper oil reading on your dipstick until you let the engine cycle through it. So if you go, like right now, my RX-PX is underneath the cover out in the backyard right now. If I went out there, pulled the cover, pulled the seat, and pulled the dipstick, it would be almost bone dry. And I'd be like, oh my gosh, I got to put oil in it. Wrong. Fire it up, let it idle for 30 seconds. Don't touch the gas, don't rev it, don't be that guy. But let it idle for 30 seconds, kill the engine, wait 30 seconds, wipe off your dipstick, put it back in, take a reading. It should be at the indent. Here, here's your dipstick. Here's the indent. It should be at half. All right. Half to almost the bottom of the indent is ideal. Above that, you're starting to get a lot of windage. Well, what happens if you got too much oil? That oil turns into a big sloshy mess. If you're sopping in oil, it's all coating your crank. It's coating your connecting rods. It's coating the pistons. It's everywhere. Okay. And that builds up pressure. And yeah, you have a way for it to push positive crankcase pressure out. And what's going to happen is that oil, that excess oil, is going to get all over your intercooler and smother your intercooler, making your intercooler inoperable. And then it's going to start pumping that through your supercharger, soaking your supercharger and all the fins on the impeller wheel on the supercharger. And then it's going to go through your throttle body, coat your throttle body, and you're going to start burning that oil through your pistons. And now you've just got oil all over the whole stinking thing. And all you could have done was taken half a quart of oil out and you would have been great. So that's what could have happened. It's pretty detrimental. It's pretty bad stuff. you could actually really hurt your engine with too much oil. Like really hurt it. So do that. That's an easy step. It's an easy thing. Go back and watch the other videos on proper oil change and proper oil level. Okay. Kevin, so you wouldn't recommend the GP 1800R at all? No. It's a great ski. But the people who want a GP 1800R, I don't need to tell them. They got their heart set on it. Most people, I talk them out of it. Dude, it's a race car. It's a race car. It will knock your fillings out. Okay? It's lightweight. It oil cans. It's a handful, especially tuned. Oh my gosh, you just heard one. You just heard a testimony of a guy who's got one. It's a handful. And most people do not want a handful. They don't. I mean, I'll tell you what. Go over and see someone with a GP 1800R in the water and watch them rev it. Just rev it. And watch for fun. Watch the swim step. Just the back swim step. When they rev it, it goes roar, roar, roar. It'll literally cavitate. It'll flex. The whole ski is doing this. I'm not joking. It's a lot. All right. My voice is gone. Okay. Suckin' Asteroid writes, would you recommend taking delivery of a 2021 FX Limited or just moving deposits over to 2022 after colors are released and hopefully integrated speakers? Would hate to pass on a ski just for the same BS next year. I really like the new the current FX. They're not having a lot of trouble as long as you take care of the painted hull. Asteroid, I think I get the Limited right now, dude. It's black and red. It's good looking. Yeah, I just get the 21 right now. I mean, if you have to have the sound system, then wait. Because the Limited will have the sound system. Guaranteed. Because the Limited has everything in it. That's a hard one. And you can't retroactively put it on. I don't think you can. I don't think you can. I don't know. I'd get it now. If you've got it, get it now. I don't know. That's kind of a hard one for me. Okay. Joel writes, I'm looking to buy a Sea-Doo Fish Pro. Should I be worried about IDF and some of those failures? What should I be looking out for? What should I be looking out for is new to PWC. You're new to PWC. Okay. The IDF thing, I think this is not a hard number answer. I wish I could give you a hard number answer. But I think we're out of the woods for the most part. But I think, honestly, I'd wait to 2022. And I'd wait a few months. Like, not be in a rush in 2022. Because if they're still breaking in 2022, I'd steer clear 100%. For a while. Sea-Doo will fix it. Sea-Doo is hell-bent on fixing it. They really are. They're committed to it. They're committed to making sure that every IDF-equipped ski is operable. They really wanted to make it work. They're married to it. It's the predecessor of the transmission, and they got to have IDF work. They got to have IDF work because, like, the future depends on it. Not to sound like Doc Brown, but Back to the Future. Like, your future depends on it. But yeah. All right. What's up, Kawasaki in the house? I love it. All right. Oh, funny. Okay. Yeah. Jason writes, love your content. Heat gun on my Cadillac Escalade. Plastic looks good as new. Okay. So you had the gray plastic You had like one of those Escalade Avalanche trucks, I presume, because those had so much of that plastic on there. The problem is that the heat gun trick works good. It does, and it's a great Band-Aid, but it's not perfect. And I tried to emphasize that in the article and in the video that I'm like, dude, it's not perfect. It's not going to look brand new, but it's better than chalky gray. I mean, it's better than that. I mean, ugh. All right. Jason continues. Prop impellers. Don't say props anymore. We all make that mistake, but Jerry Gaddis is going to show up in the middle of the night and stab us in our sleep. He's like the candy man. Don't go in the bathroom and say Green Hulk 3 times with the lights off. Anyway, and Jerry will show up with beat you with a supercharger. He doesn't watch these things, so I'm just saying stupid stuff. All right. Anyway, Jason writes, impellers are terrible to remove. My race mechanic had to get 2 people and a nasty big breaker bar just to bust it loose. Yeah, I've met a couple people who have tricks for knocking Yamaha impellers off, and they won't share their secrets. And I want to know, like, the secret. I know there's a secret. All right. Let's see here. All right. Okay, Michael Glenn writes, Kevin, I'm curious if you can use a jump start pack on a jet ski. I've seen it happen, totally. Say if you run the battery low, could you use it to get you out of trouble? Don't want to kill the ECU. Yeah, I've seen it used. I've seen a little jump pack work. My curiosity is, why are you having that kind of drain? Typically the batteries don't, what's the right word? They don't break down as badly as they used to. Yeah, that's a weird one. Because that means you've got draw. If you're draining your battery like that, that means you've got something drawing, and it's drawing current. So you've got a bigger issue if you're drawing current, and you're going to have to get a test light and start checking to make sure that all your wiring's good. What's a good ski that's easy to work on? Kawasaki 550, I'd say like an 80. Wow, they're all the same. 86, 87, 88. Yeah. Go get a Cowie 550. Super easy. Easy to pull the engine out of, too. Get a 550. And it's a jet ski. It's an actual jet ski. Let's see here. Doop. Oh, Nathan writes, quick question for you. We have 2 2021 GTX 230s. One tops off at 58 miles per hour, but the new one tops off at 64 miles per hour, and it's not even broken in. Any idea what that's about? Well, they're 2 identical GTI GTX 230s, right? So my question is, have you tested those speeds with a GPS, an actual handheld Garmin or TomTom or Lowrance? Someone corrected me. I used to say Lawrence, and it's Lowrance, right? Is that correct? Lowrance, right? So, I mean, if I'm mispronouncing it, I'm mispronouncing it. Oh, that's another thing I got called out on. All right, super duper mistake on my end. I have no excuse for this one. I don't know. I got rocks in my head. I did a video way early in the year talking about getting better miles per gallon, getting better fuel economy out of your watercraft. And I started talking about those guys with like the solar powered cars that are super sleek and look like a teardrop, or the guys who are on those electric bikes that have like the teardrop helmet and they minimize themselves. And I kept saying hyper milling, like they're milling, they're machining themselves down. They're hyper milling. And I had like 2 or 3 people comment. They're like, dude, it's hyper miling. And I'm like, what? That doesn't make any sense. Hyper miling? And they're like, it's hyper miling. I'm like, whatever, get out of here. And it was funny because I felt justified because I watched a documentary on hyper miling, or on the solar cars, I should say, on the solar cars. And this shows how dumb I am. The voiceover guy I think he was Australian. And he had a really heavy Australian accent. And so I'm hearing hyper miling as hyper milling. And I'm like, oh, dude, it's hyper milling. It's hyper milling. And I corrected one guy because I was dead set on it. I'm like, no, man, the Australian dude on National Geographic said hyper milling. And then a guy commented this week and he goes, dude, it's hyper miling. You got it wrong. And I go, BS. And I didn't respond back, but I typed hyper milling into Google. And no joke, Wikipedia comes up, and at the top it says hyper miling, and then the opening paragraph in bold is spelled hyper milling. And it says hyper milling is and through the article it goes back and forth between hyper milling and hyper miling. And I'm like, oh no. So it's more than me getting it wrong. So anyway, but I did look it up, and it is hyper miling, and I got it wrong, and I'm a dingbat, and I got it wrong. So I'll own that one too. Sorry. So, all right. Evan writes, hey, Kevin, asked you about water in my 2021 GP via email. Found where the water source is from the flushing port. I left the garden hose adapter on the flush port and water got in. Oh, well, good. You found it. Good. Okay. It was just the little screw in, the press in attachment, the little water nipple. Okay, cool. I'm glad you found it. Evan, I'm stoked. Please don't leave the flush adapter in on your Yamaha. Learn from Evan. Yeah, all right, that's good. I'm happy. I'm so happy that you figured it out. Oh, I'm so happy you figured that out. That's rad. Oh, Jesse. We got something from Jesse. Didn't get the Jesse wrote a question, but he only got halfway through it. Jesse, if you're still on, finish your question and I'll answer it for you. Okay. Bill writes, I messed up my Camaro reaching for a CD2. Let's race for pinks, bro. I have a lot of stickers on it. Motor is stock, but it's fast. Funny. Hey, Simon, thank you. If you like Kevin's stuff, hit the like button. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. Guys, we definitely want to get the likes over 100. If we could get the likes over 100, that'd be rad. Please, please, please. There's a new saying, some people don't deserve opposable thumbs. That's funny. Thanks. All right. Okay. John Cunningham writes, why does Yamaha have a ribbon after the throttle plate? Is it a spark arrestor, power limiter, debris catcher? What's the downside of removing it with a ribbon delete kit? The ribbon is a flame arrestor on paper. That's what they call it, is a flame arrestor. Okay. But don't put it past Yamaha to be like, hey, let's slow this thing down a little bit. All right. The ride plate on the FX is literally designed like Scott Watkins looked me in the eye and said, we designed it to slow the ski down because it was too fast and we didn't want the Coast Guard coming after us. I'm like, oh, okay, makes sense. So, yeah, that's the idea. Please do not update the Mac wants to update the freaking the operating system. I'm like, don't do it right now, please. Please don't. Anyway, so Yeah. Okay. Yeah. It's just a flame arrestor. And the kit, here's the problem. The old ones were really easy just to pop them out and put a little sleeve in. Oh, it was great. When they redesigned the intake manifold, 2000, was it 2021 or was it also 2020? Yikes. I think it was 2020. You have to actually get a hole saw and drill it out. That kind of sucks. But strongly recommend it because, believe it or not, that element inside of there can break loose and turn itself sideways. Jerry Gaddis is on Green Hulk. He's even on the Green Hulk Facebook page. He's shown pictures of it turning and getting stuck in there. And in fact, I used that picture in one of our videos about the ribbon delete and wanting to put the ribbon delete in there. And you'll get it at like 2 miles an hour. You'll get like 1 or 2 miles an hour out of it. Okay. Let's see here. Colleen writes, I want to make sure I got it right. Canceled my 2021 EXR. Drove 3 hours to Cycle Springs in Clearwater. Spoke with Chuck Newton. Drove home with a 2021 RX PX 300. Fun fact, your picture is on their business cards. I didn't know that. That's really funny. Hey, listen, Cycle Springs has been with us for a long, long time. I cannot speak higher about the people at Cycle Springs. Those dudes will absolutely lay out the red carpet. They are the freaking best. I really, 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 really love the guys at Cycle Springs. I hate that I haven't been there in a while. They're the best. They're so cool. And believe it or not, the owner, Noel, has not only does he have a Dodge Demon that he's running 8 now, he's also got a T-Rex Dodge Ram truck. He's just a kindred spirit. And what's funny, I'll tell you what an idiot I am. I've been doing a lot of self-deprecating in this video, but I'll tell you what, you want to know how stupid I am? He has told me on the phone, he goes, Kevin, let me know when you're coming down. You can drive the Demon or you can drive the T-Rex. I don't care. I'll let you drive whichever one you want. Come on down. And I haven't done it. You would have thought I jumped on a plane by now. I don't know what's wrong with me. Okay. So I'm a moron. I need to go down there and drive that damn Demon. Okay. Gen 1, okay. Quick question for you from Nathan. We have two. Oh, wait. I did answer this. Okay. Moving on. Jason writes, cavitation will never go away. My 2021 GPR has a Solus 1320 Riva ride plate intake grade stage 1 plus tune ribbon delete works intake. Cavitation can be minimized. Here's the problem with cavitation is that there's only so much turbulence that water can take before it finally breaks apart. All right. Just molecularly starts to break apart and just turns into a froth. And the problem is that now you're sucking, your impeller is sucking froth and foam instead of dense water. And minimizing cavitation is going to be the death of us. It's the eternal quest is to end cavitation. You want as much intake bite as possible, and then you need as much thrust and constant thrust. And the process of bite to movement into thrust and thrust through the nozzle without churning it, churned, churned, without churning it into just foam is going to be just the biggest challenge. All right. Oh, look at that. Nathan writes, how long until Apple CarPlay comes? Oh, please. I do not want Tim Cook knowing about my riding habits on my Wave Runner. Okay. CMB Music Productions writes, Kevin, I have You're using the company account there, buddy. Kevin, I have a 2018 310 and a 2005 STX 12F. I'm looking at a new ZXI 1199 through 2001 on Marketplace as a smaller playful option in place of a Spark. I know I will break the Spark. Is a ZXI a good option? Yeah, that'd be a lot of fun. An 1100? Heck yeah. What a riot, dude. That'd be a lot of fun. Yeah, you'd have a hoot. Those things are a riot. Yeah, geez. I think the last one I rode was a 2000. Was it a 2000 or was it a 99? Shoot. I can't remember. Okay. All right. Let's see here. Rumors that... Well, Evinrude's gone, dude. They killed Evinrude. Evinrude's all gone. I mean, they shut it down. Nathan asks, have you heard of the PWC Super Rack? I love the idea and I want it, but I don't like the $300 price tag. Has anyone heard of anything building something like that? Super Rack. Wait, the PWC Super Rack? I mean, just a fabricated rack. Am I missing something? Is there a new Super Rack that I'm not aware of? It's just a rack. I mean, it's just a rear rack. There's a million different guys making different racks. I'll tell you what, cool PWC stuff works with the Watercraft Journal. They make really cheap racks that will do exactly what any other rack will do. Yeah. I don't know what to tell you there. Sorry, Nathan. Did COVID kill any chance of Polaris going to re-enter the PWC market? Chris, good question. It wasn't COVID. It was the 2020 election. You think I'm crazy, but I have it on very good authority that it was the 2020 election. It was not COVID. We were going to come out of COVID no matter what. But we are now in a situation where certain facets of our economy are being forcibly, intentionally shut down. The service industry is being shut down. The entry job market is being shut down. The production side of our economy totally shut down intentionally. It's intentional. I'm not going to use this channel to espouse my political beliefs. You can contact me personally, and I'll give you my suggestions for personal food storage and getting your house in order for what's coming. But it was not COVID. I can tell you for certain. All right. Oh, we got a super chat. Tariffs, Trevor. It's not tariffs either. Tariffs haven't gone away either. You would have thought the administration would have dropped all these, negotiated tariffs in. Haven't done it yet. They honestly haven't. They haven't dropped any of the tariffs. All right. Oh, wait. Guys, I am so far. I want to find the questions. What's the best way to transfer your ski from a trailer to a portable stand like Aquacart? Boy, you don't want to know my answers because they're bad. It's not the best way. There's good, better, and best. And I think I'm in the good position. Thankfully, the trailer that I have a Magic Tilt trailer that I got from Broward Motorsports, is at the right height that what I do is I have a little aluminum cart. It's at the right ride height. I take the winch off, or no, I unlock the winch so it's loose, and I pull, and I have it hooked up to I have the trailer hooked up to the truck. I pull. That's why a swim step helps. I pull the back of the ski off pretty far, all right, a few feet, so that I can slide the rack all the way underneath it. I unhook the winch. I grab the swim step, put my feet up on the feet or on the bottom wheels or tops of the casters of the cart, and I row press that whole ski basically on top of me until my butt falls on the ground and I've got it on their level. I'm certain I'm gonna get hemorrhoids or a hernia doing that. It's bad. That's the way I've been doing it for years, and I know that's not the right way to do it. So a little WD-40 on the bunks on the trailer helps. Slide it a little bit easier. I don't have a good answer for that one. I have a bad answer, and my bad answer is me hurting myself. All right. I think we're going to 2 hours, guys, because I got a million questions here, and I want to answer everyone. I'm sorry. All right. Let's see. In Australia, if anyone goes down the river with the sound system blaring, we call them wankers. Love this show in lockdown. I'm sorry, guys. I heard Australia locked down again, and I can't believe you guys haven't grabbed machetes and pitchforks and gone to Sydney. I'm surprised you haven't revolted yet. You got so many damn poisonous and murderous animals. I'm surprised you didn't just herd them all towards the capital and just have venomous drop bears attack your. Sorry. All right. Let's keep going. Okay. All right. Try bunk slicks. Yeah, those help. I do have. I actually had them on my old trailer before I sold it. Yeah, I answered that one, Brian. Transfer a ski to a cart. I apologize. I don't have a good answer for you. Maybe the crowd does. All right. Keith Knight asks, any experience or thoughts on VersaPlug drain plug? No one really talks about them. How do they compare and work in conjunction with the Sea-Doo bailing system? Oh my gosh, I think I had one in here. PWC Doctor gave me one at the Lake Hartwell race. Oh, where'd I put it? Where'd I put it? Crap. I have a Yoda stamp. Some of the junk I have, I swear. I don't think I'm a pack rat, but maybe I am. Yeah. I actually have one of the PWC Doctor drain plugs that I was going to do a video and test on it. Shoot. That reminded me. All right, I'm writing a note. I bet you it's in my. I got a tub of parts. PWC Doctor plug. I don't have any experience with it because I haven't put it on yet. I think they're cool. Concept looks awesome. I have dog hair and lint all over me. We had a thunderstorm roll through this afternoon, and my blue heeler jumped in my lap and rubbed her hair all over me, and I'm trying to get the hair off. Sorry, guys. I swear, I've never had a dog shed like that blue heeler. I think I've probably eaten. I mean, we pull clothes out of the dryer, and they've got dog hair on it. I mean, we get dog hair on our food. It's everywhere. I can't believe the shedding that dog. Anyway, it's like having a husky. All right. Any word on Polaris producing PWC? Nope. I already told you. Sorry. Unless something radically changes in the next 2 years or 3 years, you ain't seeing Polaris change. or Polaris could come out. They're not going to risk it. They're hunkering down right now. Polaris is in full 911, World War II bunker style protection mode because they know the EPA is coming after them. They know it. The EPA doesn't want people driving cars. They don't want them driving trucks. And they definitely don't want people out on government-owned land riding around in dinosaur bone burning side-by-sides and quads and snowmobiles and motorcycles and jet skis and all the other things. They want you in your house living off the stipend they give you. Okay, I'm going down the rabbit hole. I'm sorry. Drinking and boating is still a major problem in British Columbia, Canada, where I'm from. Go to the boat ramps in the evening. At least half the boat operators are wasted. Mark, I live in Nashville, Tennessee on a lake. Every weekend, it looks like CMA Fest out there. It is asinine how drinking and boating have correlated. It is, I don't drink, so it makes me sound like a teetotaler, but I'm telling you, I go on rides and people are cracking open beers while they're riding. Oh, I can't. I just can't do it. Oh. All right. Everyone checks in. Fizzle writes, hey, wait, is this Fizzle intercoolers? Right on. Hey, Kevin, I got a question. I recently bought a Race FX SVHO from Broward Motorsports. It raced in the P1 Aqua X class. I can't find a parts list for it anywhere. Can you point me in the right direction? I have no idea. Did you buy the one from Tequesta? Or Tequesta? Excuse me. I always mispronounce that. It's wrong. Tequesta. Like question. Tequesta. Did you buy that FX? I put it in a video. Did you get that one? I have no idea what parts they put on it. I don't know. They might be sandbagging, dude. They might be squeaking. I have no idea what they did to that ski. So I can't tell you, Fizzle. I'm sorry. I wish I knew. And I want you to send pictures because I'm interested to see what's under the hood. I didn't get to take the hood off, or I didn't get to take the seat off. They didn't let me look at it. All right. Oh, Mike writes, my buddy and I have a tricks. I put Pro Watercraft Racing sponsons on. He wanted to see if the difference it made. Second corner, it bit hard and chucked them. That's funny. We're at 85 likes, guys. Can we get 15 more? Come on, let's get 15. Just 15 likes. I just want 15 likes. That's all I need. I feel like Steve Martin on The Jerk. That's all I need is this lamp, my blanket, and the dog. All right. Evan writes, I purchased the Works intake manifold adapter. Are there any issues with going that route instead of tapping the manifold? I don't know. I'm not sure what you're, Evan. I don't know what ski you got. I don't know what. You have to give me more detail on that one, Evan. Yeah, what ski, what intake? I don't know what you're talking about. All right. Hey, Big Boost. I have to hide that comment. I appreciate it. It's funny, but I have to hide that comment. It's inappropriate. Hey, you know what? I'm going to say something. At the beginning of this, I said that we had to get rid of a guy who was attacking us and spamming and kind of being a jerk and blah, blah, blah. By the way, I also told my admin, I was like, listen, I really don't like, I don't know if this is me being a Nazi. I don't know. I apologize, guys. But like in the EPA video that I did, I called out. I didn't really call out the blogger. I just had to correct a lot of stuff that the vlogger. He's a vlogger. I didn't really call him out because I didn't mention him by name, and I didn't want to dog him. I didn't want to trash him, but I was like, dude, you got everything wrong on this. And so I had to make all these corrections on the EPA law. And there's more to it too, but it doesn't really apply to us. It's more of the car application, power sports. But a couple of people were commenting and they were kind of dumping on the guy, and I've deleted those comments. And I've had other people dump on other channels and other people on channels, and we've deleted those too. I'm not trying to make the comment section Disneyland, but I really don't like the vitriol and the trash talk. If you want to correct me, 100% correct me. Bring receipts. Tell me how I'm wrong, and I'll look it up, and I'll be like, hey, you're right. Hey Joe, you're right. I got that one wrong. I apologize. Thank you for the link or whatever. But we've deleted a few comments where people are like, oh, that guy is a jackass, or that guy's stupid, or that I don't like her, she's a blah, blah, blah. We've gotten rid of those too. So it's not, I don't know. I just don't think it really helps anything. It doesn't really build. You know what I mean? Okay. So moving on. Any other questions? Fizzle writes, continue with my question. No, they didn't tell me what was on the ski, and they had been taking the whole thing apart when I went to pick it up, saying they were changing the ride plate and intake plate. Well, what the heck? If you bought the modified ski, wouldn't it come with all the parts? That seems like a raw deal. Unless that wasn't part of the price and they were just selling you a stock ski. Huh. Fizzle, I'm sorry, man. That sounds weird to me. Yeah, that seems really weird. Pajama Time writes, do you warm up your ski when you first fire it up on the water? If so, how long before you start opening up the throttle? Usually, I hate to say it, unless you live on a lake that just doesn't have any no wake zones, but typically the idling, the no wake idling zone takes you a minute, 2 minutes. Maybe you're getting your sunglasses and your sunscreen and your phone hooked up to your sound system. That's 2 or 3 minutes. Yeah, I really don't think you need to warm it up like I got to keep it on the trailer and let it warm up for a minute and a half. And then I got to go to the dock, tie it up, run up the dock, get in my truck, drive up, park, come back out, fire it up, and then let it idle some more. I've never done that. I've pulled it off, pulled it up to the dock, tied up, run over, got my truck, park it, come back, put my vest. I might fire it up and just sit on it, put on my vest and sunscreens and get my GoPros ready because I'm filming. And by the time I idle out to the end of the no wake zone, it's been 3 minutes or 4 minutes. That's plenty. You're not, dude. It's not a 1970 Vista Cruiser with a 455 Oldsmobile. You don't need 5 minutes of warm-up time. I think you're good. All right. Let's see here. Any other questions? I'm looking for question marks now. I'm not seeing any more. When does Sea-Doo come out with the new 2022 colors? Trying to gauge from Ski-Doo colors while we wait. I said it was going to be probably, let me look at the calendar here. I got a paper calendar because I'm a dinosaur. Let's see. Shoot. It's going to be probably the last week of August that everything's going to be live, that everything's going to be public. I think they're saying like the 24th or the 25th. Don't write that down. Don't tattoo that on your forehead or announce that. But I think it's going to be towards the middle or end of the last week of August that date comes out. I've got a 550 for sale if anyone wants it. Right on. On Yamaha, heat the impeller up with a torch, stand the shaft up, sitting on the stator, on the floor, spray knocker spray knocker on the floor, spray knocker loose, and let sit overnight. It should easily come off. Really? Hey, big boost. Thanks for that. Huh. Oh, man. I'm curious about that. I like to see that in action. I'm curious. Jason says, you said earlier you don't like the ST3 holes for high chop. I'm joining late, but didn't hear your answer why you don't like it. I have a 2010 RXTX and a 2020 RXPX. Well, then your 2010 RXTX is not an ST3. And your 2020 RXPX is just an T3. It's not a T3R. So neither are an ST3. Jason, I've done whole videos dedicated to understanding the hull design and what it does in chop. I'm not going to spend it here because I got 5 minutes before I got to close this up because it's been 2 hours and my voice is leaving me and I haven't had dinner yet and I'm fading. I'm fading fast. All right. All right. Kevin isn't lying. Thank you. Big Boost is becoming my best friend. All right. Kevin isn't lying. Stock ride plate on FX models drive the nose in the water. 2 shims in the front will lift the bow out of the water and gain speed all through RPM. Okay, Boost, I got a question for you. And I've seen this. I've seen a lot of guys say, shim the plate, you'll be fine. Now, here's my question. In shimming the plate, you are no longer flush. All right? You're bringing that plate. Well, no, okay. You want to shim the back, right? Shims in the front will lift the bow out of the water. Because, well, if the plate is doing this, you want to shim it, okay. But now you're protruding. I mean, how much? Those shims, I mean, you could be a 1/4 inch, right? Not a 1/2 inch, but I think it's a 1/4 inch that you're sticking down now. Now you're a cause of drag. I'm curious. Oh, that's a curiosity. I mean, a lot of guys who are performance tuning their FXs, they're tweaking the plates and they're finding cheap answers and less cheap answers and expensive answers. And so I like what Boost was saying in this one. I'm just curious about some other ramifications when you shim the plate. I believe you're really bringing the plate down, and now you are creating a shelf that that step it's hitting. That's a source of drag. I'd hate to do that. All right, Fizzle, exactly. It was part of the price they advertised for it. Was going 86. I took it out and it was doing 70. When I called and asked, they said some BS about the tune being wrong. When they had oh my gosh, dude, Fizzle, I'm sorry, man. That doesn't sound right to me at all. John Cunningham, when will you be visiting JP Racing and doing a story? Yeah, I wanted to. I didn't get down to his shop when I was in Florida. I had the whole family with me, and I wasn't dragging the kids to JP's shop. Plus, I want to drive his Corvette. I know he won't let me. All right. Let's see here. Okay, we're at the end here. David writes, should I place an order for a 21 Sea-Doo now or just wait till 22? I'd wait till 22. It's coming out in a month. Less than a month. Well, no, a month. It's coming out in a month. Yeah, I'd wait a month. I think you'll be okay. I'll tell you what. If there are any 21s on the floors and the 22s come out, some people will be motivated to sell those 21s. I don't see many happening, but it'll be interesting. All right. Okay, so Boost, thank you for answering me. Okay. Fizzle, come drive mine. It's doing 650 to the wheels. Nice! Dude, now I want to know what your vet's doing. I'm not a big Corvette guy, but I mean, I know my way around them. That's rad. 650 at the wheels. Oh, my Charger's not doing that. That's for sure. I'm doing barely 500 at the wheels. I'm doing like 489 at the wheels. Now my torque's pretty bitching. I'm doing 580 at the wheels. Pound-feet of torque. I got torque like a Cummins diesel. Those tires wrinkle. It's great. Okay. All right. Fizzle writes, they took the tune off the jet ski as it was running E85, but never told me about it. Dude. Fizzle, I think they pulled a fast one on you, dude. And I normally don't say that about anyone. It's a rocket. I'll send you a photo of it if you still want photos of my ski. Yeah, send me photos of everything. Dude, I got to get you on the magazine. Fizzle, we got to get you on the magazine. I know we talked a little bit last year or a little bit this year. I'll send you my numbers. All right? We're murdering everyone. To be honest, for most of the year, I got Green Hulk pinned. Okay? During the summer, Green Hulk gets away from me. But, dude, Watercraft Journal's murdering on numbers. We got 500,000 readers. 500,000. And I got Pro Riders numbers. I got their whole media kit. Dude, it's embarrassing. It's really bad. I'm not trying to be a jerk, but we're killing them. Anyway, I'm sorry. I don't mean to make this a sales pitch. That's rude. I'm sorry. But no, about your FX, I'm bummed about the FX because that was a cool ski. I didn't know it was tuned for E85. That seems really messed, dude. That seems really messed up. I'm sorry to hear that. Dang, I'm sorry. Okay, cool. Boost did right. He goes, hey, the new FX models do come flush. So, Kevin, you are correct. If you add shims, it'll cause drag. Okay, cool. Well, that was just intellectual curiosity. That was just a mechanical curiosity for me. So, if I was wrong, I was wrong. If I was right, I was right. I just didn't know. So, thank you for that. I appreciate that. So, man, only the older FX models will work with the shimming. The new FX models are flush, and so correct. It'll cause. Okay, cool, guys. This has been great. I love learning. So I love learning this kind of stuff. Oh shoot, Scott, I totally missed your super chat, Scott. I'm sorry. Okay, Scott writes. Took your advice. Local dealer had an FX Cruiser HO sitting for a month. I hounded them every day to sell it to me. They finally caved. Attaboy. Attaboy, Scott. Hey, Scott, send me an email. Email me at kevin.shaw@shawgroupmedia.com. Again, it's kevin.shaw@shawgroupmedia.com. Please email me. I'm going to send you I'll send you 2 stickers. I'm going to pull them aside right now. Email me with your address, and I'm going to send you these stickers. I want to make sure you have these stickers because that's rad. I'm stoked for you. That's cool. Guys, we hit 100 likes. We did it. That's rad. Thank you. All right. Hey, listen, it's over 2 hours. I'm wiped out. My voice is gone. I sound like Wolfman Jack. Hey, this is great. Guys, I really appreciate it. This is really, really cool. I had fun today, so I'm glad we had a good conversation. This was actually a lot of fun. I like it when they're conversations. It's not just me sitting at a podium giving a lecture. Hey, listen, we got some really fun stuff coming out on the Watercraft Journal. Video wise, I'm waiting on the proof on the Riva GP 1800R SVHO video. Once that is done, it goes live as soon as we got it. And then the Carolina Watercraft Club Belly Buster ride just got submitted, and we're going through edits on that one right now. So we got a whole bunch in the hopper. Holy cow, we got so many videos in the hopper. And that's pretty exciting stuff. This is going to be the end of July, and the first week of August, I go out to Yamaha and ride 2022s, and I don't think I'll be able to say anything for another week or two, but I'll tell you otherwise. Guys, thanks again. I really, really appreciate it. Kevin, you should have one of your fans co-host the show. I've actually looked at having the split screen, and hosting it throug't YouTube. The split screen software is a little pricey, but I was thinking about having like Greg Gaddis or Jerry Gaddis come in, or other people, and have like guests, having guests come in and having a split screen. We just haven't gotten there. I don't think anyone wants to sit and listen to me talk, or I don't think anyone is. Let me back up. I don't think there's anyone else as insane to sit and talk for 2 hours straight about jet skis on a Sunday night. I think I'm the only lunatic who's willing to do that, but we'll see. All right, guys, thanks again. Really appreciate it. Thanks for tuning in. I hope you had as much fun as I did. I actually really enjoyed this one. Take care. We'll talk soon. Have a great week.